We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Join Moses, Chukuma, and Fina on Voice of the People TM. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
All right, it's a countdown to the weekend of football action as club football takes a center stage. And of course, it's also a countdown for the Afcon 2025 as we wait on the full list of players that will be trying for slots to be a part of the Afcon 2025 in Morocco. My name is Jerry Apeliohai, saying welcome to the locker room on Voice of the People Television as it promises to be exciting with the house full. Part with talking about the guys, the usual suspects we like to call them, and of course Ikechukwu and Afiz makes a return after a long hiatus, and of course Mario will be joining us virtually as we look at the fixtures for this weekend because there's a big one this Sunday. The Blues up against the Gunners, Chelsea up against Arsenal. Of course, the say charity begins at home. Ikechukwu, Afiz, it's great to have you guys with me on the locker room.
Good evening, Jerry. Good evening, Chris. It's good to be here to talk football. A lot happened during the week, and this is the beginning of the weekend. So we hope to actually see the results continue the same way we actually saw it during the week. Teams that actually want to continue winning, the ones that lost to continue losing. Thanks for having me.
You couldn't just hold it at peace. Yeah, I'd say that there are two things that Ikechukwu will have to mix up. He has to mix comedy and politics together. So I think that's another talent. Yeah, that's another talent he needs to discover right now.
Absolutely. Good evening, Ikechukwu. Good evening, Jerry. It's good to be back on the show. And like Ikechukwu said, it's been a wonderful week of football. We saw the Champions League, we saw the Europa League. I mean, we saw Nottingham Forest, getting back to winning ways. Maybe Sean Dyche is actually, doing something massive with the club after that 3-0 win at Anfield in the Premier League. He also won 3-0 again yesterday. So, a good one. Crystal Palace, unfortunately, could not replicate that. They lost. But then it's a chance for the weekend, for teams that lost to actually, maybe teams that lost that shouldn't lose, but they lost. It's time for them to get their acts right. While for some, a lot of people are waiting for them to continue on that trajectory. But then, it's shaping up to be a fantastic weekend, by the way, and we are all here for it. Good evening, everyone.
All right, of course, it's good to see that he's laughing like a trencher cat. And of course, Maiwa, it's great to have you join us. So much to look forward to this weekend.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. The iconic cap is back for Jerry. Probably maybe he's trying to cover the defeat of Liverpool. It's another weekend. We are looking forward to Liverpool being bashed again. But in any case, it's always amazing to be a whole lot happening in football. Referee list released. Nigeria not there again. Eswatini on the list. But in any case, TGIF edition, and I hope after today, maybe Liverpool will be able to do something about their losing streak.
I hate to bounce your bum, but it's another loss this weekend, and of course because that team doesn't look ready. But anyway, for a team that is losing to an Everton 1-man down at Old Trafford, I think you have more to worry about, because your fan who's still here to cut his hair is still struggling with maybe his grandchildren might see him with that hairstyle. I don't know.
Imagine a Liverpool fan, saying it at the beginning of the season that he's not going to cut his hair.
At least at the beginning of the season, they
should be looking at that.
They did 5
right
games now. At least they did 4 or 5 games. Yeah.
On the bounce.
Yeah.
That they won.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Did they?
They won their first 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
that would have been easy.
It's just funny how they went from sign of champions to a crisis immediately. And
that's football.
But there's a lot to talk about the slots and the Liverpool side. For me, I think when you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. I mean,
is it about planning?
No, do you know what I think Liverpool's biggest problem is?
Yeah.
You know what I think Liverpool's biggest problem is?
Yeah.
Szoboszlai.
In what way?
Okay, so
I think he's one of their most important players.
That's why
he's one of the better players
because he's so good that Slot thinks he can actually play very well on the right back position.
He spent money on the right back.
Yes, let's even admit that.
And they have any injuries in the right back position.
I think
Bradley and Frimpong.
I think he should have given Joe Gomez that chance to play.
But he won't stay fit.
No,
that's the problem.
No.
He will not stay fit.
Joe
Gomez will not stay fit. That's the problem.
If you look at Gomez, he has resigned to fate that he wants to be a bench warmer.
But Jerry,
he's not in a hurry to make any impression.
Jerry, go back
the board, they know that he won't stay fit, so it's time for him to be replaced.
The thing is that he's okay.
Jerry, go back to Liverpool games.
He has opportunity
go back to
be
Liverpool
fit.
games. Go back to Liverpool games. You realize that anytime Slot plays Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch in that midfield, it's different. They might struggle to win games when he plays Szoboszlai on right back.
Yes.
But it's always different.
Of course.
And that's the problem.
And it was even towards the end of last season, Szoboszlai was performing.
If you watched that game against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right. I think it was after that game he actually played Szoboszlai again on right back position.
He played him in that game. He played him in right back where he came up against Martinelli, and he did well against Martinelli. He advanced a little bit to the forward, to the middle, and he got that free kick. After that game, he played Szoboszlai in the heart of the midfield. Liverpool won that. I think it was against Atletico.
Then, if you saw the game against Madrid again, Szoboszlai played in the midfield.
Yeah.
Right. And then against Man City, Slot panicked. He took him back to right back. And when you move, it's just like taking your because he's the most advanced Liverpool players in midfield.
Yeah.
When you just like Man City playing Kevin De Bruyne in the right back, because he
I think Szoboszlai's performance for me, I think it has made the Florian Wirtz signing a very, very bad decision. On Slot's side.
See, the thing is
I think he has.
The thing is that the issues with Liverpool, there are so many.
Jerry, see that Szoboszlai.
It's not only one issue.
Yeah.
You don't change your
winning formula,
your winning team, and of course the brain, your brain box.
Yeah,
your brain box in midfield. You don't move.
Let me tell you.
If you have been moving a player like Gravenberch, who is a natural defensive-minded player, to play right back and then come back to the midfield, it would have been different. It's a lot different. When you move your most advanced player in midfield back to right back, it affects the chemistry. You might struggle to win some games.
I think
it also affects the balance of the team.
The thing is that let's not dwell on Liverpool's issues, because the issues are so much.
Yeah.
Because the depth the squad had last season has been destroyed. Because even selling Kelleher, for me, I believe, was also a mistake. The likes of
Elliott too.
The likes of
I don't
Kwanzaa.
think.
And why is Curtis
Jones has not been doing bad? I don't think Davli has gone bad.
No, if you want to analyze the signings one after the other.
How do you explain Van Dijk doing volleyball on the pitch?
No, I saw your post. I saw your post.
But that's not Davli's fault.
No, I'm just saying the defense too. They are not helping.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I saw his post where he was thinking that maybe the players were not playing for him.
How do you do volleyball? Explain that to me. And if you could see, there was a player who gave her an assist. When Van Dijk was chasing the guy, you could see that Van Dijk slowed down.
He always does.
No,
he always does.
This was the guy to go up front and just let him.
Yeah, Van Dijk's strength has always been game reading.
If you see Konate,
he's not the best player.
Exactly. He's not the 1v1.
No, Jerry.
Konate. Okay, let's explain Konate.
We all know that Konate
Konate
he has been on a steady decline since last season.
Wait, calm down now. He removed his leg from trapping the ball.
Okay.
And when the ball left, he was just busy escorting the player.
Okay, if you want to, Jerry,
Jones didn't even make an attempt. Everybody was just waiting for the goal to come.
Let's go into
And if you take a look at Soboslai's goal, it was as if there was no choice. He let him just score the goal.
Jerry, let's
go.
go.
The right back had to go to that. See, that's what I'm saying.
Anyway, let's deal
to fix that problem.
Exactly. I was saying let's go to the show proper because there's a lot we are still going to talk about.
Let's deal with the Super Eagles.
Yeah.
Don't forget to turn on the notification bell and hit that subscribe button so you don't get to miss any of the episodes of The Locker Room on Voice of the People Television. And of course, let's start off with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And of course, let's talk about the list, which we're still here to see the full list of players that will be coming in from the Premier League stage before the final list of players that will be going to the Afcon will be unveiled. Anyway, the coach of the senior national team, Eric Chell, picked a host of young players according to reports in the Premier League list for the upcoming tournament in Morocco. And Chell has already submitted this list to the NFF, but he's expected to trim it down from the 55 to a sizable number before the commencement of campaign for the tournament next month. I don't know, 55, that's a whole lot of confusion to put yourself ahead of the, talking about pruning down the list. Is that not too much, 55?
Well, I think that the NFF has, given a nod for Eric Chell to actually start the review process with the Afcon. I think that's a really reasonable excuse for him to actually go for 5 players. I mean, you already have players who actually persecuted the qualifiers tickets already, and all you need to do is just to bring in a few players to actually blood in and then take out the ones you feel that are actually not good enough, and now you should be good to go. But if you're actually looking at 55, then obviously you're looking at a total overhaul and then a review process, which of course I'm not against. I want to also believe a lot of Nigerians are also not against, considering that by the time the next World Cup comes calling, a good number of our players will be in their 30s, and we need young players to actually be the mainstay of Super Eagles before that time. So I think that's the only reasonable reason. If there's another reason, then definitely there's a bigger problem than what I actually think. And of course, the fact that when it comes to lists like this, it's always a game of power play and politics. People who has say will definitely want to,
because I don't understand the delay.
Influence their list.
Other teams are already.
I mean, every other teams are coming up with their own list, and we have barely about 3 weeks away from the championship, and then we are still having this. So again, power play, politics, my slots. I mean, I don't want to measure slot, but yeah.
For me, I just see that 2 things. Ikechukwu has already mentioned one of it. I mean, looking at the delay. I mean, when you look at the last post. Not the last post really. Okay, the last post concerning selection of players in the Super Eagles on X. I mean, they just posted an empty squad. They posted the positions, waiting for the names on the preliminary list. You want to release 55 players. I don't think there should be much delay in releasing 55 players. Then you are going to trim down. And speaking about the players that negotiated the World Cup qualifiers. I mean, after the World Cup qualifiers, you can also agree with me that there are some players that you feel like we don't want to see again when it comes to the national team. And unfortunately too, arguably Nigeria's best centre back right now, Benjamin Fredericks, is injured and is going to miss the tournament. That's in fact that's totally disappointing. I mean, he is one person that gives Nigerians this joy whenever they see him play, and unfortunately he's not going to make that tournament. Maybe it's another opportunity for Eric Chell again, to exploit and say, okay, fine, this is maybe the first time, my first major tournament with the Super Eagles. Maybe I'll have that time to explore and bring new players. I can see many more Benjamin Fredericks, just the way he brought him from the Unity Cup and all of that. I can also do many more, the likes of Akinson Miro, the likes of, I think, David Simon and Yeraso and all of that. So, but my thing is long enough already. 23 days to the championship. In fact, it's time to be seeing the finalists, not even the preliminary now. We should be seeing preliminary from like 30 to 35 days or even 40 days before the tournament, not 23 days where before you know it now, it will roll in and the tournament will kickstart and we still don't know who and who is coming, to come and negotiate the tournaments. I've seen some funny names, and I'm sure Jerry is going to bring out those names very soon. I've seen some funny names, and I don't want to believe that those are the players that I want to call up, for the Afcon. But yes, let's see what is going to happen between now and maybe next week.
All right, Maiwa, the coach has showed faith in a lot of young players, although not many are expected to make the final cut for the tournament. And the chieftain of the Nigerian Football Federation praised the coach for taking such a bold step, which is crucial to rebuilding the team. I've heard a lot of interesting names, but we did make the final cut. But do you think there's any time for this kind of jamboree, knowing the fact that we did not qualify for the World Cup, and now we need to start planning for the future, but making too many invitation to a team that just needs less than 2 weeks to prepare for the, or 3.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
less than 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
That's 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, because
It's
on
about
the
3
21st
weeks,
of December,
Yeah.
they will be persecuting the Afcon. So, Maiwa, do you think there's any need for all of this? Is there time for all of this jamboree?
Well, definitely there is no time. And I don't think the NFF want to subscribe to the fact that they want to use this opportunity, this competition to build a team. Remember, they didn't. The plan of the NFF, if nobody, the plan of the NFF-led board is to remain in power. And to be able to do that, they need to ensure that we have a team that can probably win the Nations Cup. And bringing in new faces and trying to rebuild a team in this kind of Nations Cup will not cut it. Yes, we have 55 names listed. This might be names we might be looking for the future for, but for this particular Nations Cup, I think it's going to be majority of probably 90% of those that played in the World Cup qualifiers, and probably maybe 1 or 2 new faces. But bulk of the players would definitely be the old guys. I don't think the NFF trying to pacify Nigeria, trying to give Nigeria some sort of relief, would want to risk it for us to build a team, to start building a team, the process of building a team in this particular Nations Cup. So it's going to be same of same. It's just a matter of having 55 names, but majority of them will not make the cut. We are going to see majority of those we know before, and probably 1 or 2 persons that we don't know. And the rebuilding process starts probably maybe after the Nations Cup, provided the NFF throws their weight behind. Because as it is now, what the NFF is after is to find a way to make Nigerians happy and to probably paint themselves good and retain power in the glass house.
All right, still talking about the Super Eagles, as anticipation builds for the 2025 African Cup of Nations scheduled to kick off in December. Debates around potential surprise selections are intensifying, particularly within the Super Eagles camp. And the Nigerian Football Federation recently revealed that the Premier League squad list will be released soon, and sparking talking about discussions among fans and analysts. We already know that Benjamin Frederick is expected to miss the tournament due to injury. There are doubts about Victor Osimhen. If he makes the squad list, he might not be playing the first few games. And that is if the Super Eagles get to see the knockout stages. That is not to say that I'm being pessimistic or I don't have... I'm not being... let me just say pessimistic, because if you look at it, these Super Eagles, they can pull up surprises anytime, any day. But we hear about talks about players like Paul Onuachu, once viewed as a situational option in Nigerian's attack. Of course, you all know my feelings about Paul Onuachu. And of course, Ahmed Musa is also in the conversation. I don't know, maybe to do his testimonial or motivate the team once more like he did at the last Afcon. Of course, there's also the talk about Ola, which according to information is still yet to train fully with the team. His team in the Premier League, Nottingham Forest.
He's back, actually. He's back in training.
He's back training, but he's training individually. He has not joined the full team training.
It's just about managing him.
Yeah.
Because I think looking at the team, they have a certain Nico Williams who has been doing well on the side, Nicolo Savona as well. I know he wants to keep his place, but I don't think his place at Nottingham Forest is on that threat. So maybe they will just give him that, management, that man management that, okay, just, get yourself ready. I think Orlando is going to make it.
All right, and of course, there's also the talk about Terry Murphy, who's still yet to prove himself. He's been given countless opportunities, but he's still not been able to take the opportunities with both hands. And Nathan Taylor looks like he's always injured, in and out. He's never available when you need him. He's just like the Darwin Núñez of the Super Eagles. What do you make of those names popping up eventually as someone making the cut for the Afcon?
I think Nathan Taylor would be a very good addition to the Super Eagles. I mean, he's a player who can actually replay even in the right back position. If eventually Olaino is not fit for that tournament. I think it's one player we can really rely on. And I must also say that Oshai Samuel is not as bad as a lot of persons, look at him. It's just the problem of whoever it is that is playing in the heart of the defense when a player like Oshai Samuel who gets easily carried away going forward. If you have someone like Frederick playing, in the heart of defense, his lapses will be very, very well covered because Frederick is a very good ball reader and is very calm on the ball, so he understands how to actually, help players like that, cover up his space. But then the player I really have issues with. I don't have issues with Paul Onuachu. I think he's doing so well. Maybe he deserves another chance. 9 goals.
He hardly proves himself.
Yeah,
in the
no, of course.
team.
I mean, it depends. Maybe this might just be it for him, right?
Yeah.
9 goals in the Turkish league so far this season.
He's always doing numbers, Ikechukwu. But when it comes to that, that maybe tournament time or the crucial time for the Super Eagles,
see,
you hardly see a Paul Onuachu. Is it the team? Is it the way they don't deliver balls into the box?
Well, that's one, right? But the truth again, right? Paul Onuachu has not been trusted as our mainstay going to any major tournament. So, crucifying him or saying whatever it is about him, I don't think it's fair. I mean, all his club sides, that's exactly from Belgium now to Turkey that is doing very well.
Yeah.
He's trusted, and one thing about players is if the team trusts you and it's definitely going to build your confidence, particularly attackers, you see them banging goals. I don't think it's terrible at scoring goals, even though we want to say, okay, he has not really given up, giving his heart out for the Super Eagles. The truth is, as a player, as a striker, Victor Osimhen, how many chances have the Super Eagles really created for him? We've also seen him squander a lot of chances.
Yeah. But so maybe that's why I will now ask you: is it that you have to adjust to the system of the manager or the coach now?
No. So
because it seems like Victor Osimhen can adjust to any system.
No.
Or is it that system of Jose Peseiro in Afcon 2023 has not changed? Because if you look at the qualifiers,
look at Victor Osimhen. How many goals did he score in Afcon?
He scored one goal.
Just one goal.
But you could see his pressing. You could see his pressing. I know his primary job is scoring goals.
Jerry, all strikers cannot be pressers.
If that performance,
all strikers cannot be pressers.
So is it about understanding Chelsea's system?
Okay. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. I remember the last, was it the 2018 World Cup that France won?
Yes,
2018.
I will remember the role of Olivier Giroud at that.
Yeah. And he didn't have a shot on target. He didn't even have a shot on target.
Yeah, but his assist rate was really impressive.
Yeah.
But look at Paul Onuachu, the same height, the same like kind of quality with Olivier Giroud, but not so as fast as.
So that was what I was about to ask you.
What is his impact in the team when he's not scoring?
I was about to ask you. Okay, is he a good striker off the ball? Can he bring?
No, he's a good striker.
He's off the ball. He's not a good striker.
Jerry, no,
off the ball.
He is actually. Off the ball, good.
I
think it's more like a poacher, like always.
No, the problem with Onuachu is the fact that you mentioned Olivier Giroud.
Yeah.
Look at Olivier Giroud for France. Look at Olivier Giroud for Arsenal. Look at Olivier Giroud for Lille before he joined Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? You look at the number of goals he scored before he joined, while at Arsenal and then for France. You realize that the stronger the team he played under, the number of goals he had to score.
Because he got more chances. He's under the same manager still, but the system changed and he got more goals in 2022.
So the truth is, the players playing behind Paul Onuachu, and of course, you know how difficult it is for synergy to be built in national team. Yeah. The players playing behind Paul Onuachu for Super Eagles, we don't have creative midfielders. Let's be very frank with ourselves. And not all players can actually be present.
When you're faced with such situations, that means you have to go for a striker that will.
No, the coach will create a situation.
Which what is he going to look for?
No. He did it in the qualifiers.
You're even going too far, Jerry. You remember 2008 Olympics? The CSL side that went to that tournament, we had no creative midfielder.
Thank God.
It was Sunny Keita. No, wait, now.
Thank God you
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's about the coach. It's about the coach looking at the quality of players who play to their strength.
Well, at least at that time we had a Mikel Obi.
There was no Mikel. 2008 Olympics.
2008.
There was no Mikel.
No. Mikel was available, but he didn't go.
He didn't go. I'm talking about the team. It was Sunny Keita and Ajilore. These two guys.
As a promise.
No, as a promise played up front.
Ajilore was a good, decent midfielder.
But it was not creative.
No, they're not creative.
Not
discussing creativity. These guys are not creative.
It's not the creative of.
That's what I'm saying. So
it's not part of the creative.
Already know that
coaches
don't have the creative midfielder.
See, Jerry, we are saying even if you don't have, you can build a system that will service the attacker.
Exactly.
Irrespective of them not being
I think we don't have the time to be doing that because we want Paul Onuachu to play. We will not be doing all the experiment.
No. Look at what Chelsea did. Jerry, look at what Chelsea did.
Something with the Super Eagles, even in the Nations Cup. Yeah. Osimhen was our main poacher, but somehow
that was Peseiro.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Peseiro understood that Afcon is the weakest when it comes to chasing attackers. he had to play 3-man backline.
Yeah, with Bassi.
Yes, and that's exactly when Ekon's strength came out.
Yeah.
And then the Super Eagles got a lot of goals, and that's how we were able to make it to the finals.
All right, Mario, we also hear about Victor Boniface. You already know my feelings towards these names, but I think if we're really serious about the AFCON, names like Ahmed Musa, Victor Boniface, and Paul Onachu should not be in the front burner.
Then take one inside those three.
I won't take any. I better not go with any of them. Marwa. All right, Mario, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, Ahmed Musa definitely it will be taking a whole lot of space away from somebody that will be much more. And Ahmed Musa has played very well for Nigeria. Probably maybe as part of the crew, brings his experience, but not as a player. So definitely Ahmed Musa is out of it. However, Osimhen is injured. Aroko Dare has not been scoring the way we were expecting him to be scoring. Yes, I think he has been able to score a goal, while Paul Onachu has not been able to do that. Victor Boniface has not been able to score a goal. However, if we are looking at somebody that is probably a like for a Victor Osimhen, probably will be looking at a Paul Onachu. I think Ikechukwu is on the point there. The coach has to adjust his playing style for Onachu to be much more effective. However, we all know that Onachu has a deficiency that when he's not getting the goals, he doesn't come back to affect the play the way we see Osimhen do, and that's the shortfall. That is where the coach needs to step in and probably readjust to be able to serve an Onachu who cannot press back and do the link-up play that we see Osimhen do regularly when he's not getting the goal. So if Eric Chek can adjust it and probably adjust our midfield a bit to accommodate the playing style of an Onachu, I think Onachu will be much more will be a decent striker to have because at the moment Osimhen is not available, and the other strikers that we depend on, they've not been firing or not, even though they've scored some goals, they've not been firing the way we expect them to be firing, and we can't go to a tournament striker left. So I'll probably pick an Onachu over a Victor Boniface, and the reason is very simple. Victor Boniface is with Werder Bremen now, if I'm not mistaken, has not been able to do anything fantastic with his club at the moment, and he has even been struggling with playing time. So I'd rather pick a Paul Onachu that is playing regularly as my top 9. So I'll probably drop Victor All
right. Okay. My one, of course, let's go to the big story as far as the Super Eagles update is concerned. It interests Nigerians to know that Super Eagles captain William Chus Ekong has announced his retirement from international football following Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And the decision came shortly after the team's defeat to DR Congo in the final round of the CAF World Cup playoffs. And according to information, Ekong informed his teammates of his decision in the dressing room after the match, and the defender noted that he would still travel to Morocco, where Nigeria will participate in the 2025 Afcon Cup of Nations, but only in a supportive capacity. He wished the squad success in the tournament he had long hoped to lead them into. And of course, it's pretty sad for Chus Ekong. At the twilight of his career with the Super Eagles, he would have loved to captain the Super Eagles at the World Cup, but it looks like it's never going to happen. And now, going to the Afcon in supportive capacity in a time when Benjamin Frederick is out injured, do you think that is a wise decision? Do you think the NFF should maybe talk to him? He should still give it one more shot at the Afcon, because his services, whether you like it or not, his experience will be needed in that back line that's already short of experienced defenders going to the Afcon.
Yeah, well, for me, I think there's a lot of what I call it storyline, or a lot of things I think Chus Ekong must have considered. I mean, we can all agree here that he has been the fall guy for any Nigerian loss or draw. Even during the World Cup qualifier, we blamed him for Zimbabwe, we blamed him for South Africa. NFF came out to blame him. So for me, I think Chus Ekong must have thought of a lot of things, because I'm sure is if not number one, is one of the biggest names on the list. When I mentioned earlier that there are some names that Nigerians don't want to see when it comes to, the national team again and prepare for the Afcon. So I think he must have thought all of that in his head, and he just wants to give maybe the last years of his career to his club football right there in Saudi Arabia. So for me, I think I won't blame Trustekong. Yes, and now that Benjamin Felix is missing, maybe he can come in, but do you think he really wants to come in to come and fill the space? I think for him, I think it's more comfortable to just be in the dressing room. Of course, he's going to be there with them to just give them that supportive role. He's still the leader on and off the pitch. So for me, I think good decision by Trustekong if that is what he wants. Maybe this is a chance for other centre backs like Semi Ajayi to step up and make himself a mainstay. He's 30 as well. Very soon we'll be seeing the same news from him too, that he wants to retire because he's also getting, I think he's 31 or 32 at this point, Semi Ajayi. Maybe this is another chance for a fresh defender, just like we saw Benjamin Felix come out of the blue. Maybe this is a chance for another defender. Chidozie Awaziem is also in the running. He has been fantastic for Nantes so far. So I think maybe it's a chance for them it's a breath of fresh air maybe, into the Super Eagles. So I think good one for Trustekong. He has done his bit. I remember when he came on, was in 2016, 2016. I think he went to Olympics in 2016. Yeah. And from there, he formed a fantastic partnership with Leon Balogun that time. And he's been there. Basically, he's been a mainstay. But with all those things that have been happening over the past 6 months, I think it's just time for the man to just lead off the pitch this time.
Okay, Chido, and of course, will you be excited going into the Afcon without experienced defenders? For me, I don't trust Chidozie Awaziem a bit to stay in that back line. And of course, if Calvin Bass, if anything happens to him, we'll be going to the Nations Cup with a very suspicious back line.
So apart from what Ekong will be doing on the pitch, a lot of games can actually, in fact, a lot of games are won before you step into the pitch, and this is where the likes of Ekong will definitely be, crucial. And I mean, a lot of us actually didn't see this as a surprise that he's going to actually not make it to the Nations Cup, following his protest lead. We know the antecedents of the glass house, and when you actually lead protests like that, definitely something is going to come.
You might not make it.
It's a case of will you rather resign or you get fired? And that's exactly what happened with Ekong from where I stand, right? And he's done his bit. I think it's time for him to actually go. As a player, he's also not really been fantastic in the last couple of months. So that's more like, a lot of Nigerians will not really look at it that, I think we really not go to miss it. But people really understand, what really happened behind, football, what really happens in the locker room. They really know that players like this are definitely, the leaders and the ones who actually charge the boys to actually do, but they are leaders of the team. And of course, for you to win a championship, you need at least 2-3 leaders in your squad. And Trustekong is just one of those. In fact, the major leader outside Ahmed Musa. So if he definitely will not be part of it, then they might just sneak in Ahmed Musa because of his leadership quality. He might not be playing, but we actually need someone like, these persons who have actually been there before, who have actually seen the height of football. I mean, to actually help those young guys to manage their game time, of course, help them understand what certain moments of, tournaments looks like. But then, again, going to the championship without Ekong is going to be very, very bad. And you already pointed something about Calvin Bass. We can even start the tournament and the first game he might just get a knock. And then that's going to be a very big problem because he's now the only player who can really rely on. Lionel is not fully fit. I mean, I would look at.
Manager is still not yet fit.
Yes, not yet fit. So if we look at the players who actually played the Afcon, the last Afcon, look at the backline. It means that virtually everybody will not be available if anything happens to Calvin Bass. It's going to be a huge blow going to the championship with a different set of players outside the ones who actually play the Conference Series. I think the NFF should find a way to actually bring him in, which from where I stand, I know that's going to be almost impossible because there's already bad blood between the NFF and Ekong, who was fingered as the leader of the protest, and that's the NFF really don't like to be dragged into anything that has to do with money and all of that. So it's actually a very big problem.
Okay. I wanted to ask you maybe on the flip side. I wanted to ask you, can't it look like something good? If you just change everything, it can be the sign of a new era. It might be there in the dressing room with them, but it can be the sign of a new era. So a lot of things.
I understand what you're saying, but it would have been better immediately after the DR Congo game he resigned, which means he had the he had it in him.
His teammates that he was going to resign, that he was not retired, that he was not going to be an active player, but a supportive
Jerry,
part of
No,
the
but
team.
there always be a time
Jerry.
you have to move on from a particular person.
What
Maybe
I'm
that's
saying,
what I'm
is, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, you don't make this sort of call very close to a major tournament. After that championship, a lot of Nigerians still believe he will be part of this party. Jerry, you understand? So if he had said, okay, we just got knocked out, and immediately would have looked at, okay, who are we actually looking at?
Yeah.
Right? It's painful, but but then that's the case. So for him to take this long, it means that he really was very hesitant about it.
Maybe
And
what if
something-
there was something, you know how our NFF can be, maybe there was something inside and you might have known that, hey, you're not going to be called up. We're not supposed to be talking about things like that, but it is possible with the NFF.
But the truth is, Jerry, let's be very honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Outside to second, do we even have top quality defenders?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not
Mayo,
even about him being
if
experienced.
you take a look at Ekong, he was the most valuable player at the last
Yes.
Afcon.
Yeah.
With that being said,
Stepping
and
up
of
to
course, he
score
scored
penalties.
good goals,
3 goals.
which were very, very important to the Super Eagles. How much are we going to miss Ekong's impact on the pitch?
The Yorubas will say Ajekela no Omokule ni. Very simple. We all knew, and we said it here when we were talking about the issue, that Chukwuemeka will never play for Nigeria again.
Simple.
And this is setting a bad precedent. Anybody that speaks, the same thing they did to Victor Moses.
Leon
Anybody that
Balogun.
speaks out, anybody that speaks out against the national, against the NFF, against their
Leon
administration, Leon Balogun, the same thing.
Desire Paranozi. You can go on.
You know, the list is long. They did the same thing to the 2002 guys.
Yes.
A lot of them did not make it back to national team.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. It's a bad precedent and it's a bad culture we are creating in the national team. However, definitely, Chukwuemeka is getting near. If he was dropped on the basis of his performance, we will understand. Why is it that it was after he was fingered as the person that led the protest, he was in his right to do it. How can you open for 6 years and you expect them to complain? It was after then, that was suddenly when, he's no longer playing for the national
No, even
team.
before that, it's been the fall guy now. For the last qualifiers that we played, was it the South African one when the NFF just had to come out to say something and they put him under the bus. So it means that there has been this tension between Chukwuemeka and the NFF, I guess, even up until that time that he led the protest, or according to them, he led.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so definitely we are going to miss him, and it's going to create a whole lot of vacuum for us. But it all beckons on a chair right now to be able to find a suitable replacement. Definitely, we know a Calvin Bassey will be a coin feature in our central defense. Probably maybe a Shemi Ajayi. We get to see Shemi Ajayi play regularly. Then other guys will get to come up and support the defense line. But definitely, we are going to miss a Chukwuemeka. Since he said he's going to be part of the team, giving them, sharing experience and, trying to influence the team from the side. Probably maybe that might serve so well for the new faces we'll see in our defense line. However, the way Chukwuemeka is being let out of the national team is a disgrace, and this should not continue. NFF cannot be misbehaving and people call them out and they will go back and retaliate against them. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's go back to the Europa League action that went down last night. And of course, Daniel Malen scored twice as Aston Villa beat Young Boys 2-1 in the Europa League tie, marred by crowd trouble on Thursday night. While Roma brought in an end to Michelin's perfect record in the league phase, Malen nodded host Villa in front from a Yuri Tielemans cross, but was struck on the head while celebrating by an object thrown from the section of housing the away supporters. And of course, the Young Boy fans were really, really troublesome all the way. But Aston Villa won that game by 2-1. And Fenerbahce and Ferencváros played out a 1-1 draw. Celtic beating Feyenoord by 3-1 away. And Lille were 4-0 victorious over GNK Dynamo. Ludogorets 3, Celta Vigo 2. And of course, those were the much interesting result. And of course, if you look at the table, Olympique Lyon is doing well, and Tolisso has been firing on all cylinders with 4 goals to show so far in as much as 5 matches played. And of course, Michelin on the run-up to this one, they were on form, and a very interesting form, but they lost 2-1 away to Roma, which is quite understandable because going to play in the Stadio Olimpico, playing against Roma. It's quite a difficult one to get the results in that tough, but it is what it is. The Europa League is shaping up, and of course the big boys are being counted. And of course, it looks like Midtjylland might be the surprise team in this league phase of the Europa League.
You can say that. I mean, they won 4 of the first 4. So I think Midtjylland, but then there's something a defeat can do to you. You know, when you are recording wins and then one loss can just, shape up your entire season.
Like
But
Liverpool.
I didn't want to go there. I don't,
It's not that
it might
bad.
even happen
started it, and then
It might happen to Arsenal.
He started losing.
It might happen to Arsenal, maybe. Hopefully not, but come Sunday, that's going to be a big game. But looking at the results generally, I think good one for Lyon. They won 16 away from home. I also mentioned just at the start of the show about Nottingham Forest. For me personally, I was glad to see Arnold Kalimuendo getting on the score sheet for them. I think they have good striking options aside from Chris Wood, with Igor Jesus also doing well. Then it wasn't a good return for Pablo Rosario, who plays for... No, it was a good return for him because Porto played Nice, and Pablo Rosario has played for Nice, then he transferred to Porto this summer, and Porto won 3-0. So I think interesting result from the Europa League. We all know that Europa League will deliver goals and action. Olivier Giroud also for Lille as well. They won 4-0, and just like we are seeing right now, Lyon are leading after Midtjylland lost. So I think Midtjylland might have enough to come back. They also have good players. There's this certain Valdemar Biskov who has been fantastic. Aston Villa, of course, they should be there. They should be there, as a Premier League side. And looking at the Europa League teams, I mean, Aston Villa should be up there, looking at their quality of players. Freiburg as well, they were dealt with 6-2 by Bayern Munich at the weekend, but then they are back in there. And Real Betis and Antony are also, performing. So I think it's a good one. I think the Europa League is going to be a fantastic watch this season. Looking at the teams that are there, they're not so bad. I know it's tier 2 of European football, but European club football. But then, I mean, it's still going to serve us a lot.
Even tier 2, tier 3, you don't see Man United there. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. There's a certain team that is not playing in Europe at all.
Tier 4.
They play
tier 4.
They play 2 competitions in one weekend. They play their Premier League game and their Champions League game in the weekend.
Tier 4, tier 5 for Man United. But it is what it is. But let's talk about the Premier League, where the Premier League champions have suffered 6 defeats in their past 7 league games, with few signs that Arne Slot is getting a grip on the situation. And in stark contrast, buoyant leaders Arsenal take on second place Chelsea, showing clear signs that they are finally equipped to end their 2-decade title drought. The last time that Arsenal really had a bright chance of winning the title at this time of the year was far back in 2004 under Arsene Wenger. But it looks like November is now looking like the jinx of November has finally been broken by Arsenal. It looks like they are good enough to beat Chelsea this weekend on the back of their form so far so good and the squad depth they currently possess.
Maybe they were close to 2022-2023 when they bottled that league title.
Everybody was expecting it to.
No, I mean, it was like clubs were falling apart for them. But there's one thing you never do in the Premier League: whatever you do not let Pep Guardiola and Manchester City catch you sleeping. And it happened unfortunately to Arsenal. But the difference then and between that time and now, I think we can see it so far that at that time, Saliba picked up an injury and everything looked to be the end of Arsenal. But now, you won't believe it that in certain games this season, Arsenal had Martin Odegaard out, Arsenal had William Saliba out, Gabriel Magalhaes is currently out as well. Right now, they are looking like they're not even feeling the pressure. They can go on. When the November fixtures came out, I mean, we saw maybe the first 3 games were like easy games, except the Sunderland one, which they eventually went on to draw. We saw the last 3 games, which includes Chelsea's one right now, the last game for November for Arsenal. We saw Bayern Munich and Tottenham Hotspur, not only derby can be very, very tough. Tottenham can be a potential banana skin. And the Arsenal team, even without their main men, they still negotiated these results. So for me, I think that squad depth, maybe come May, it might speak of a whole lot of importance for the Gunners. I think hopefully so, for some reasons. I think I would want Arsenal to win the league. But then, I won't blame Arsenal fans that are cautious because of what happened in 2022-23.
Talking about squad depth, I think Arsenal is also lucky in the transfer window because if you take a look at Kai Havertz's injury, it was timely and they were able to get Eberechi Eze in, which has, of course, made a lot of difference for them in terms of the goals this season.
Before they signed Eberechi Eze, I said that Eberechi Eze is going to be, a marquee signing for them for 2 reasons. He's very good playing wide. He's also a very good number 10 if he comes into that particular role for Odegaard. And that has been Arsenal's biggest problem in the 3 seasons that they actually suffered, loss to Pep Guardiola's Premier League champion. One of the problems they always had is when Odegaard is out, there's nobody that is going to actually step in for him.
Yes,
what's his name? Martinelli. Once he's not on form, there's no one that is going to step in for him. And now what Arsenal's Mikel Arteta's side has shown over the years is that they've grown as a player. They are more mature now. Even when Saka is actually not playing, there's this presence of maturity and calmness that comes with him. They are not too in a hurry to actually produce results again. Even if they cannot get a goal, they will ensure that they don't get to concede. And one of the hallmark of winning a championship is that you don't concede goals. Even if you don't score many, ensure that you don't concede goals. And if Arsenal at this point of the season just conceded, I think about 7 goals now they've conceded so far. It says a lot about the quality of the team. I don't know. I was actually looking at this Arsenal side to perhaps replicate, the Jose Mourinho's 4-5 Premier League season, 15 goals. But I don't think that's going to happen because I see them consider more than 15. But they've done a decent job so far at this stage of the season.
All right. Okay. There's also the big story coming out of the Blues camp. Cole Palmer will be available for this one. Maresca's revealed, and I think Arsenal will need to be worried about the Cole Palmer.
Well, Arsenal needs to be worried. Chelsea can turn up to become the spoilers. You know how they turn up against big club. They did against Barcelona, and that will serve as a morale booster for them. They were able to dispatch Barcelona without a sweat, and they can probably do it against Arsenal again. However, for the Arsenal side, they've been really consistent. Conceding less goals, and set piece is one of their major strengths. They did it in the Champions League. Scoring via set piece, and it's been really serving them. However, the problem has always been if you spend 240 days on top of the log, what is the probability that you will not do it again? That is where my fear is. Can they survive the tsunami of February, March? Because that is usually when the deep in form happens. Can they survive
consistency.
With the way they are going at the moment? Yes, but when that time comes, will they survive? As for me, I'm still skeptical. Probably I will believe it last day of the season and they are leading by 6 points. Probably I'll believe. But for now, I still think they are pretending until that time.
Maiwa, last month, I can remember on the show, you said it was November. Now it's February, March. Stay in one place.
I'm saying it
No.
You said it was November.
It's an accumulation of months that Arsenal.
The truth is.
No, but it starts from November.
Arsenal not starts from. Arsenal usually have good seasons, good time, in during the ember month. But November and then February, March. If you look at Arsenal's season so far, you know that they usually have good October, December, January. Of course, from February, March, they usually have this very difficult. But for Cole Palmer, who actually, his announcement has just been announced that he's going to be part of this game, I would say that. I don't think he should actually just feature in this game. It will upset the chemistry of the team. I think he should be introduced very much later, and not just to start that game. So I think that's what they should actually do. But
because
no Palmer, no problem.
I wish Liverpool all the best and not the best because they get to take on West Ham away, and of course Manchester United, Crystal Palace, beware. Anything can happen. Maiwa, this is where we'll wrap it up. It's great having you.
To be here, and I hope West Ham do the job again so that Jerry can finally wear the Man U jersey he promised to wear.
He has been promising to wear this thing since.
It's not going to be again. It's not going to happen again this season. As far as this Liverpool team is concerned, I can't even put a cent on them. That's just the truth. Of course, thanks Afis and thanks to Ikechukwu for being awesome on the show.
Good to be back here.
A big thanks to the guys behind the scene talking about the likes of Adura and of course Paul, and not leaving out Ikechukwu for being awesome, as well as Manfred. My name is Jerry Apelo. I say thanks for being a part of the locker room. Up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma. Stay tuned.
extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Every year on November 10, the world celebrates World Science Day for Peace and Development to highlight